Seven o'clock. Clerk Slater, please call the roll.
Trustee Rissy.
Here.
Trustee Nordike. Supervisor Lesbrunz.
Here.
Treasurer Corstange. Trustee Nordhook.
Here.
Trustee Shipley. Clerk Slater. Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Article 3, motion or discussion for approval of tonight's agenda.
Shipley makes a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
It's a motion by Trustee Shipley, seconded by Treasurer Corstange. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, Article 4, approval of the minutes for the Township Board meeting on March 25th, including the closed session. Is there a motion or discussion?
Move to approve. Support.
It's a motion by Trustee Rizzi, supported by Trustee Shipley to approve those minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Having no presentations tonight, now is the time for public comments about anything on tonight's agenda. So tonight we have changing the gas station configuration at Costco. We've also have the boards voting on the ballot language to on the referendum about the zoning that was passed back in February. New sirens for Kent County Emergency System. Also streetlights in Centennial Park that are out and need replacing. And lastly, a new vehicle for the fire department. Anyone commenting on those specific agenda items, please limit your time to 3 minutes and state your name and address for agenda or for record keeping. With that, welcome. Anyone virtually? Okay. Motion or discussion on Article 7, approval of the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's a motion by Treasurer Corstange, supported by Clerk Slater. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Article 8, financial actions, specifically invoices scheduled to be paid tomorrow on April 23rd. Is there a motion or discussion?
I make a motion to approve the invoices to be paid on 4/23 of 2026. Support.
It's a motion by Trustee Rizzi. I'm sorry,
No.
Shipley, supported by Trustee Rizzi to approve those financial actions. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Article 9.
Madam
unfinished-
Supervisor, excuse me, it's Lorna. If I could, the last board meeting had a board agenda item to authorize the township manager and myself to authorize the payment of invoices. So there was a report of invoices already paid that was part of the consent agenda.
Oh.
I just didn't want that glossed over,
Mhm.
that we did submit that report. Thank you.
Unfinished business resolution 019-2026. Consider approval of the resolution 019-2026, adopting amendments to the township zoning ordinance regulating data mining facilities, data centers, which would allow this board to implement a short-term moratorium for existing and also new or emerging land uses. Manager Smith, I know this is the second time the board has discussed this. Is there anything you want to say before we turn it over?
Yeah, real quick. At your seats tonight, you saw an updated Exhibit A. The difference in what you have in front of you versus what was in the packet is there's actually a new section that has been assigned to this. It's blank in your copy that you have in the board agenda. So you can see this has been added to section 4.35, where if you look in your agenda, it's got a blank line. Other than that, it's verbatim the same as it was when it was introduced.
Attorney Holmier, anything you want to say before?
No, I inserted those sections today. So that's section 4.35 under the general provisions of your existing zoning ordinance.
Is it fair to say that passing this resolution, that we have no blind spots regarding data centers?
No, this will, along with a resolution that you'll have imposing that at your next meeting, then it will allow the township sufficient time to adopt those regulations. And the committee has met once to talk about certain aspects of those. So I think where we're at is we're waiting on feedback back from consumers and energy. So.
Questions, discussion, motion?
I make a motion to approve the resolution 019-2026 to adopt the amendments to the township zoning ordinance that would regulate data mining facilities and data centers and would allow the township board to implement a short-term moratorium for existing and new or emerging land uses.
Support.
It's a motion by trustee Shipley adopting the proposed ordinance as presented, supported by treasurer Corstange. Clerk Slater, please call the roll.
Trustee Shipley,
Yes.
trustee Nordhook,
Yes.
treasurer Corstange,
Yes.
trustee Rissy,
Yes.
trustee Norddyke,
Yes.
clerk Slater, yes, supervisor Lesbrunz.
Yes, motion carried. Article 10, new business, resolution 020-2026. This is introduction of an ordinance 006-2026, which would amend ordinance number 8 of 2004, specifically the waterfall shops planned unit development, which has been attached in the ordinance to amend the waterfall shops planned unit development, also known as PUD 76. Manager Smith, anything you want to walk us through before we turn it to our planning team?
No, we can just turn it over to Kyle from McKenna to go through what the request is.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. Manager as well. So tonight before you is a request to modify the PUD ordinance 76, waterfall shops development. In essence, they are seeking to expand the existing fuel station on site to allow for additional pumps, and then also to seek approval to have additional canopy signage. Waterfall shops development was originally constructed or received approval in April of 2004 to develop approximately 100 acres, consisting of a showcase movie theater, drive-in theater, wetlands, vacant property, all of which is located at 5128 Street. Approval also rezoned the property from E2 and industrial to PUD 76. Subject parcel is in the western portion of PUD 76. The applicant, Costco Warehouse, is proposing an expansion of the existing Costco facility, as well as indicated signage on there. So overall, they're looking to add approximately 7,860 square feet of fueling canopy, installation of 6 new multi-product dispensers for 12 total pumps, one 40,000 in-ground gallon premium underground storage tank, new controller enclosures, relocation of existing transformers.
Mr. Mucha, I think your microphone might not be on. If you hit it, make sure it's green.
Is that better?
Thanks.
Thank you. Conversion of the existing premium UST to regular, relocation of 3 dispensers, a new VST, replacement of the 4 existing canopy signs, and site reconfiguration and associated site improvements. For those who may not have heard with the mic off, they are asking for approval to expand 7,860 square feet of fueling canopy and add additional pumps. It's our understanding the Planning Commission is recommending approval of this amendment, and so tonight the board is being requested to review this, and then at a future date, your May 13th meeting, you would then take action based on public hearing notices. As well, it is our understanding the applicant and their team is here to help address or identify any additional comments that may have been overlooked from us. So I would encourage the board, if they have further site-specific questions or development questions, to inquire with the applicant as well. Otherwise, I'm happy to address what questions and concerns I can at this time.
One clarification too, at the planning commission that we had discussed when we talk about additional 4 signs. Costco's had 4 signs forever, but the PUD language only allowed them 2. So that's just one stipulation that we kind of went back and forth on, but they've had them forever. So it's just fixing the PUD language to allow what they currently have had. They're very small signs. They don't get bigger than the canopy. Just as a small clarification.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Would the applicants like to address the board at all? Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me. My name is Josh Beach out of Kent, Washington. I work for Core States Group. We're excited to be in your community to propose this project to expand the fuel facility there at the Costco to serve our membership. And I have a full team here that can answer any additional questions you may have if they come up. If you have any for me now, I can do my best to answer those, or I can come back up if you need me to. So
I've got a question.
absolutely.
With the environment being very dear and near to probably 99% of the people in the United States, and the wetlands being fairly close to Costco back there, is there provisions to control any spillage on the additional square footage?
Absolutely. Yeah, we follow any state and federal regulations in order to maintain any environmental spillage on site.
That was my big question.
Yep.
Thanks.
Anything else right away?
How does this site compare to the other Costco's that you've worked with across the country? Have a lot of those others already made these increases, or?
They have. Yeah, we work on Core States Group, who is a client of Costco, who work on sites throughout the United States, and yeah, we're working on a large number of expansions, mostly because Costco is known for their so much cheaper fuel, and as the price goes up, more folks want to purchase that gas. And the idea behind it is, if we add more dispensers or pumps, the queue will get shorter because folks can get through the line faster. And so that's our goal.
In working on these sites around the country, would you categorize our site as average, or would you say maybe it was a little more challenging because it's a little more congested there? Or I mean, what's your take on that?
I don't know that it would be considered just in terms of the queue length and things like that.
Yeah.
If you permit me, we have a colleague here that works as our traffic engineer. We can ask her some of those questions. They've worked with Costco on these sites throughout the U.S. too, and she's better equipped to answer that question. So I can call her up unless you have any other non-traffic related questions.
I was just curious how we
Yeah.
compare.
Yeah. Great.
Sure. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for having me. Barbara Mosier. I work for Kittleson and Associates for traffic engineers on this project and many other Costco's across the country. So for a really short answer, I think it is fairly typical for an unexpanded gas. I think our understanding of sort of the typical Friday peak, Saturday midday peak, and then some other days of the week, depending on what time of year it is, that you are having that gas queue spill out onto the road that sort of curves around immediately in front of it. But that is pretty typical for a lot of the Costco's that haven't had the gas expansion.
Okay.
So it's not remarkably bad, but.
Understood. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
In as much as I've worked through that various intersections going back to Costco, I can sympathize or empathize with what the people utilizing waterfall shops go through. Also, I'm not with the Costco as a member. I'm with another big box company that I won't name. They're blue in color. And sometimes I wait long ways or a long time to get up to the pump. And it certainly creates congestion back in the adjacent parking lots. So with that, I make a proposal that we amend the waterfall shops planned unit development, aka PUD 76.
Support.
It's a motion by trustee Shipley supported by trustee Rizzi, adopting resolution 020/2026 as presented. Clerk Slater, please call the roll.
Trustee Nordike,
Yes.
trustee Rissy,
Yes.
treasurer Corstein,
Yes.
trustee Nordhook,
Yes.
trustee Shipley,
Yes.
clerk Slater, yes, supervisor Lesbrunz.
Yes, motion carried. And thank you for coming so well prepared tonight. Sorry we didn't get to grill you very hard, but we appreciate you being ready if we did.
Thanks for the extra gas pump.
On behalf of the entire Costco community, thank you. Resolution 021/2026. Consider approval of resolution 021/2026, which would approve the zoning ordinance referendum ballot language and authorize its submission to the County of Kent for placement on the ballot. Manager Smith and Attorney Homier are here to walk us through this. Gentlemen, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, thank you, Supervisor. As everybody knows, on February 11th, the Township Board adopted the comprehensive amendments to the zoning ordinance, and that was challenged on February 18th with a notification to the clerk's office. Petitions were to be submitted to the clerk's office by March 19th, which they were. They were verified, the petitions were verified, and there were enough signatures to force the zoning amendments to the ballot in August. What you have before you today is language that was created by the township attorney and myself. We looked at it together, but there is ballot language in your packet tonight for approval. This does have to go to the county by May 12th to make that. That's the deadline to the county to make the August ballot. So if there were any changes or this was postponed, we would have to have a special meeting before May 12th in order to still get it on the August ballot. With that, I'll answer any questions. I don't know if Mike has anything else to add. It's pretty straightforward.
How many signatures came in?
There was
188.
Thank you.
That's not what was verified though, but there were that many that came in.
No, just
1,954.
Michelle, was this, when it was presented to the county, was this the group or person that had a professional, that had a legal counsel, a public relations firm, and also had firm for signature gathering, according to the county? So they made their signatures, and Mike, what was the step? Can you describe this step for?
Say that again.
So we passed the zoning on February 11th.
Yep.
Legally, the way, if you oppose the zoning, or for those opposing the zoning, what's your legal option? Kind of just how we got here and how you get this language.
So once a zoning amendment is adopted, then you have 15 days to publish a notice of adoption. Within 7 days of that notice of adoption, a registered elector in the municipality in the zoning jurisdiction can file what's called a notice of intent to file a petition for referendum. From that point, they have 30 days from the date the notice of adoption was published in order to gather sufficient signatures. That is 15% of the votes cast for governor in the preceding gubernatorial election. And so those petitions were circulated and then submitted timely to the township. Signatures were verified. There were enough then meeting that threshold of 15% to put it then on the ballot. And so Manager Smith's correct. The deadline is May 12th at 4 p.m. And so in order to do that, then the township board has to approve the ballot language to put it on the ballot.
When they're obtaining the signatures, is there a way, are they under any obligation to make sure that what they say is accurate, or is there any way for this board or anyone in the township to enforce that what they're saying to induce signatures is actually in fact accurate? For example, like no data center protection, data center blind spot, the township will take your property because of eminent domain. Stuff like that we were hearing that residents said it'll lower your energy costs. Do we have any, there's a township or residents who signed the petition under that, under those kind of statements? Is there any recourse negate that?
There are some cases out there dealing with what I'll call misrepresentations in the obtaining of the signatures, but they are very hard to prove. And most of them result in the going forward just because people then have an opportunity to vote on them. But it has happened. Most recently in a case I was involved with down in Berrien County, where there were probably 30 or 40 affidavits from people that were filed in that case where they claimed that they were lied to in the signing the petition. So,
What happened with those?
the judge allowed it still to move forward.
So it didn't matter.
It mattered, but it didn't matter in that context because the ballots had already been printed. And so the judge said they weren't timely.
Are you aware, Michelle, of any signatures being removed, or Mike, based on residents signing and then learning after the fact would induce them to sign may not have been accurate?
I believe that the office was contacted by maybe three to five specific voters. I think I had two in writing that asked that it would be removed. Again, and not enough to invalidate, but there were quite a few phone calls regarding the reason in which they did sign.
And was the township, were you able to, or was anyone at the township able to take those signatures off the ballot because of that?
Our advice was that they would actually have to contact the circulator and ask them to remove it. So I believe that there were some signatures that were removed by the time we received petitions that were crossed out. If those were those, I'm not sure.
And Mike, there's nothing the township can do, like to advertise what the petition correctly was, correct? So the few people that did reach out had somehow heard through the grapevine that it wasn't what they had been told that they were signing, but there's nothing the township can do to clarify publicly or advertise in any way against it, correct?
Well, the township is precluded generally from spending public resources to advocate for a position. However, the township is free to educate with factual material that is neutral in manner describing what it is. And as policymakers, the board members are not subject to the same restriction under the Campaign Finance Act. And so as policymakers, you can advocate one way or another.
Okay.
But as far as if you're on the petition signature, you don't like what the township did as far as zoning, say you're a realtor or an investor or a mortgage broker, part of the GRAR group, part of a political action committee, you are entitled to use those funds to persuade people, right? Unlike the government using public funds.
That's right. I mean, they are not subject to the same restriction. Now, there are some rules about a ballot question committee and disclosures that must be made. And I believe the threshold is expenditures over 500, I want to say. So whether that will occur in this case to advocate for a vote one way or another, I don't know yet.
Eminent domain, the government taking your property by necessity or just taking your property by right, has nothing to do with zoning, correct? The zoning, it has nothing to do with the language in the zoning ordinance that we passed on February 11th.
Generally speaking, that's true. What happens is in those cases, and I wouldn't say it's not eminent domain by that name. So eminent domain is a public necessity, public purpose, with intent to convert private property to public use, for which then you'd have to pay fair market value, right? Cases arising out of what I'll say eminent domain really are regulatory takings in some instances if a zoning ordinance goes too far. But those cases are pretty rare and hard to prove.
And you, as our legal counsel, reviewed the township zoning ordinance, correct?
Yes.
And you didn't see any issues where the township was any danger of what could be considered a taking, a regulatory taking with the zoning changes we made, right?
Not that I saw.
So it would be inaccurate if someone's putting that information out to the public, trying to get signatures based on the advocation that we were taking people's property.
Yeah, zoning is just about restricting uses of property in various districts. So its very nature is restricting uses that you might be able to put to property put to use without any zoning whatsoever, which would mean you could use it for anything that was a lawful purpose. And there are counties and townships and counties that remain unzoned. Ione County is a perfect example. No county zoning, several townships there unzoned, which means you can make any use of that property that's lawful.
I wonder how their property values compare to Cascade Townships.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably a little more affordable. Chris Nordyke.
Thank you. Mike, after, assuming this is passed by the board, this language, would it be appropriate for a member of this body to make a statement or publish an article in a township newsletter that is put together and put out by this township, using township resources to do it?
So the newsletter, probably not the newsletter, but certainly as board members, policymakers, you're free to make those statements from the dais at any time about what your views are and advocate one way or another. But utilizing public resources to advocate for a position, public expenditures, that would be prohibited by the Campaign Finance Act.
But you did say the township can make clarifications publicly using township dollars about the zoning.
The township can educate as long as it's factual and neutral and not
saying vote yes for this,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So as long as it's factual about what is in the zoning,
Correct.
the township can publish that and send it to all residents just for clarification. So they may understand what the question is asking.
Yes, factual, educational, sort of content neutral information is permissible.
Are you referring to the supervisor's newsletter, Trustee Nordyke?
No, just a broad question after this.
It's the new special newsletter.
Lots of facts in there. Well, there's a lot to correct. Further discussion, questions, motions?
Hello.
Oh, I'm sorry, Trustee Shipley.
Inasmuch as this favors the residents of the township, and I believe that the residents of the township and their needs and desires should be foremost, let's put it to the vote of the people. And if there's any lies that come up, we'll address those later, won't we, gentlemen? So therefore, I make a motion to approve the resolution 021-2026 to approve the zoning ordinance referendum ballot language and authorize its submission to Kent County for placement on the ballot and let the people make the decision.
Support.
It's a motion by Trustee Shipley, supported by Treasurer Corstange, to adopt Resolution 021-2026, approving the zoning ordinance referendum ballot language as presented, and also submitting that to the county for placement on the ballot. Clerk Slater, please call the roll.
Trustee Shipley,
Yes.
trustee Nordhook,
Yes.
treasurer Corstange,
Yes.
trustee Rissy,
Yes.
trustee Nordyke,
Yes.
clerk Slater, yes, supervisor Les Brunts.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Jade. Next, expansion and modernization of the public safety siren system. Chief Majors, Jade, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm perfect. So in this 2025 to 28 strategic for the fire department, we identified some gaps in our weather siren coverage, as well as identified some equipment that was outdated and aged. So we had a plan put together. 250,000 was approved in the capital improvement budget, the 2026 budget, and then it went through board subcommittee. And then the quote came in at 194.9. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Chief, as I understand it, with this updating, we're going to be more precise into where the warnings are issued. For instance, Northern Kent County is included, Southern Kent County may not be included in the warning. And the sirens will not be activated down here as long as we're not in that warning. Is that correct?
That is correct. Kent County is updating their system as well. So once that system is updated, then that selective, where you can kind of narrow down the warning. So the whole county won't go off for a certain place up north or south or wherever. So within a year or so, when the county upgrades their system, our system will seamlessly integrate into it.
So when Carson City has a tornado, which is about 55 miles away from here, we don't have to listen to the sirens for an hour.
Once the county and Cascade systems are all complete, that it should narrow down.
And the other thing I heard was there were 80-mile-an-hour winds at the airport. Our township is 6 miles wide, something moving 40 miles an hour, and usually get out of our area before an hour. So we're going to be in control of those sirens then?
Negative. The county sets off the sirens.
Okay.
But they are working on a way to scale it back so the whole county doesn't go off for extended periods.
Because right now we're trying wolf. I mean, eventually somebody's going to say, "Oh, there go the sirens again," and you're going to have an EF5 coming right at you. And they're
Correct.
not paying mind to them.
Once the county updates theirs, once we update ours, and the technology catches up within the next year or so, I believe it'll be a better system. Because there's right now where there's some gaps where we have a lot of complaints that people can't hear the current sirens. So this would eliminate that. Yeah, you're in a good spot right now.
Thank you.
Chief, I also understand that where in the past the sirens would go off for, say, a 3-minute period and then go silent again. We're changing that because of loss of life from the previous tornadoes this year. And as long as the warning is in effect for like Cascade and Southern King County, those sirens will continue to wail so nobody can say, golly gee whiz, I was washing my hair and I didn't hear it.
That's correct.
Okay, so it's a matter of saving lives that we're going to upgrade and improve our system.
Correct.
Thank you.
Are any other communities upgrading for this more sectional alerting as opposed to the whole county? Or are we going to be the first ones to roll this out?
I believe Plainfield is right about the same operational point as Cascade. Cascade's one of the first, but Plainfield's another one. I believe there's another community that's addressing some upgrades. But then once the county upgrades their system, then every other municipality will have to upgrade their frequencies and maybe some minor upgrades. But I believe we're one of 3 that are currently.
Plainfield's already declared it on the news as being the first.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see
exciting
whose siren
for a
turns
second.
on
No,
first.
it's not. And it was like a month ago.
The committee sent this out for bids. We put it up for bids. Did we get any others than just this one?
Well, it's if you read the letter, it is sole source. So with West Shore Services and then Federal Signal Equipment, which is what the county uses, and so it integrates seamlessly. There's only one local provider in the state that actually can install those, and so we decided to go that route to keep it all with the same equipment, same provider that's going with the county, because it would then be the same company that maintains all of it. So it talks in seamless integration.
But we did not get it. We didn't put it out for bid.
Could not put it out for bid because they're sole source. So if we decided to go with other equipment that maybe wouldn't integrate with the county equipment, we could have done that. But from a safety standpoint, we decided to go with the sole source.
Okay.
Yeah, just one question. Trying to look at the map when I was looking at the packet, every time I tried to zoom in on it, it would disappear and it would start back over from page 1. So which sirens are being relocated, just so people know if they had one in their backyard, so to say, which ones are going to be moved?
Yeah, so if you look at this map here, this one, so the 2 yellow ones, those are the relocated positions. So those are existing sirens that are on the east side of the township. We're going to relocate those closer to the blue ones and then those green ones, all 6 of those green ones would be new.
Okay.
So we have 6 current. We're going to relocate 2 and then add 6 more. So we're doubling our sirens for the township.
So where are the two, like just location wise, street wise, would you say?
Oh gosh.
Never mind.
You're
Sorry,
going
I
to stump me on
didn't
that
ask
one. They are southeast, I guess. They're moving northwest.
Okay.
Have enough coverage.
I think this is a better layout because we had a lot of overlap before, and so we'll reach more residents with the new plan.
Correct. This is recommended from all the experts.
Any further questions or discussions for Chief?
Make a motion to move forward with the siren upgrade program.
Support.
It's a motion by trustee Rizzi, supported by trustee Shipley, to approve the expansion and modernization of the public safety siren system in Cascade Township as presented, and approve the $1,094,900 quote from West Source Services to do that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Chief, and thanks for being so proactive on this one. Next up, replacement of non-functioning Centennial Park street lights. Speaking of being proactive, Eric, way to go on this one. You inherited this.
Yep, we have 115 streetlights in Centennial Park. That includes the area where Township Hall is, and it's predominantly either a business park or condominiums. Out of those 115, there's 45 that currently do not work. Over the years now, for probably several years, it's just grown in number. These are predominantly located around the Sheridan Hotel, as well as up Tahoe in front of Township Hall and down Lucerne. So we advertised a bid for a contractor to address that issue, leaving the bid fairly open-ended to how they wanted to replace those. Basically, leave it to them to find a model and brand and all the options that come along with choosing luminaires. What it would have them submit to us, what it would take to replace it to make it look the same as everything else that's there. We received 5 bids. The good news is all 5 of them proposed the same luminaire, which we'd already kind of figured it might be. It's the second, it's the sequel in the existing, what's there now is called the Architectural Area Lighting Universe series. This is the Universe 2 series, so that logically made sense. But in addition to that, that same manufacturer also produces what's called a retrofit kit. So instead of replacing the whole head of the luminaire, they would just replace the innards. And only one of the 5 contractors proposed that as an alternative solution and at a lesser price than the replacing of the whole luminaire. It comes with the same warranty. These lights are expected to run 60,000 hours, which is ballpark 15 years, the way we use them, typically dusk to dawn. If anybody is curious, the lights that are being replaced were predominantly a 2011, 2012 installation. So if you do the math, and 14 to 15 years, it about got our life out of those. So what I'm here in front of you today proposing is for the budget amendment to allow for, and then the contract award to Hillard Electric to perform that work, the replacement of those luminaires, specifically using those retrofit kits. That would just be the innards, and that carries a 5-year warranty from the manufacturer, which is the same as we would be receiving if it were any questions?
I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention as well that this is actually coming out of the DDA fund. This is the DDA budget. And then also, just to give a little history to this, if you recall back on the 2024 or 23-24 budget, there's $300,000 that were budgeted for this project, and that was extremely high. So over the course of the last year, since Dan has started and then working with Eric, we've obviously made some progress there, and you can see we budgeted $230,000 this year, and we're coming in 66% below that. So we're only spending a third of what's in the budget. So I just wanted to recognize Eric and Dan for their hard work on pulling this bid spec together and doing what's right.
Did the DDA approve the retrofit kit, or did they have a preference, or have they not looked at this yet?
They have not looked at this yet. It has been historically in their budget, and I'm not really sure why it was left out this year. It was in the CIP, but it wasn't in their budget. So we're making that change.
It's been in front of them discussed.
Oh, yes.
How it's been an ongoing kind of headache. And then the complaints from residents that walk that area.
Yeah, we receive a number of complaints, and this has been a problem that I adopted in probably 2022 when I came here. It was an existing issue that at one point Fishbeck had proposed replacing the entire luminaire and the arm bracket. Former DDA leadership had proposed, I believe, replacing, just blindly purchasing a number of luminaires so that we could hold them in stock and replace them ourselves. For the record, if anyone's curious, it's about $4,000 each for us to purchase those lights. For us to personally replace 45 lights, it's 180 grand just in parts. So there's a significant savings and obviously much less hassle contracting somebody who deals directly with the manufacturers that ship these and then installing them themselves. And like I said, over the years, the number of issues have just kind of multiplied to where we've gotten today.
Did you have to use outside professional help, you and Dan?
No.
Fishbeck hired an electrical engineer.
No, frankly, I found that Universe 2 matches what's out there and still left it up to a contractor to figure out. And they all, like I said, 5 proposed the same thing. One of them found the retrofit kit.
Good job. This is not a fun thing to spend money on, but good solution to a real nagging issue.
Out of curiosity, Hillard Electric, are they a local company?
I believe they're West Michigan. I can't tell you if they're Grand Rapids or they're not. I'm sure they're not Cascade Township specific, but they might be Grand Rapids.
Well, I like the idea of doing business with a contractor that's a professional electrical contractor. I'd hate to see you out there with a couple bug nuts and electric gloves and get knocked on your keister. Okay. With that, I recommend approval of the contract award to Hilliard Electric under the guidance of Eric and amend the fiscal 26 budget as presented in the RBA to do the work.
Support.
It's a motion by Trustee Shipley, supported by Treasurer Corsange, to approve the contract to Hilliard Electric in the amount of $74,850 to replace the non-functioning Centennial Park streetlights as presented, and also to amend the fiscal year 2026 budget accordingly. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. And thank you, Dan, also over in Parks and Facilities. Last item of new business, purchase of fire department staff vehicle. Fire Marshal Pell or Chief Majors? Nope, you guys get to choose.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. I will say that the Fire Marshal Pell did all the heavy lifting on this. I'm here to report it. Fire department tries to keep their staff vehicles, which is basically like a Suburban or a Tahoe or a pickup truck, those types of staff vehicles, about 10 years in frontline service for emergency response, and then a few years in utility, and then they're auctioned off. So we have our inspector vehicle is a 10-year-old Suburban that is going to go to utility status. And then our current deputy chief vehicle will go to the inspector. And then this would become a new deputy chief vehicle. It'll be in service about 10 years. We will auction off our current utility that's got over 100,000 miles, 10 plus years old. So we're just keeping in, I guess, in step with our vehicle replacement plan as adopted, I think about 15 years ago.
I know the fire department has got a long history of rotating their vehicles when they become too much maintenance or a certain age. Chief, if I remember right, frontline engines are only certified for so many years after production by the insurance companies that insure our property. After so many years, you either have to get it completely rebuilt or replaced. Is that correct?
That is the recommendation per NFPA, correct. 15 years frontline, and then about 5 years you can go reserve status. In Michigan, it's especially true because everything rusts underneath with our weather we have. I will say with rigs being more expensive, that is something that refurbishments are being a little bit more common. Okay. It's just difficult with rusty Michigan weather.
Thank you. Okay, I'll do it again. I
so
would
good at it.
recommend the approval to authorize the purchase of a Chevrolet Tahoe from Berger Chevrolet in the amounts indicated and total not to exceed $77,132.29. We are tax exempt.
Support. That's a motion by trustee Shipley, supported by treasurer Corstange for the purchase of the fire department staff vehicle as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Having no items for discussion, Article 12, public comments, whether or not it was discussed or decided upon by this board tonight or on any topic, please limit your comments to 3 minutes for the fairness of everyone, and also state your name and address for record keeping. With that, welcome.
Dorothy Cribbs, 1980 Deerfield Court. I spoke before about a ranked choice voting resolution, and I gave you all copies of that. There was a petition that was being circulated to change the way that we vote, putting into our constitution for the state that ranked choice voting be allowed. The petition did not gather enough signatures. So the people that are proposing this, they go by rank MI vote. So MI for Michigan. And they were going to come back in 2028 and try this again. They changed their plan, and they asked their volunteers to register as Democrats and attend the Democrat convention. And I just received a notification. Michigan Democrats back ranked choice voting, local options, and nominate pro ranked choice voting candidates for Secretary of State and Attorney General. So they go on to say at the 2026 Michigan Democratic Party nominating convention on Sunday in Detroit, the 7,250 delegates in attendance from all the counties unanimously approved our resolution to support the use of ranked choice voting in local elections. Additionally, pro-ranked choice voting candidates were nominated for the 2 highest offices chosen at the convention. Garland Gilchrist for Secretary of State and Ali Savit for Attorney General. They did polling ahead of time. They had 3 Secretary of State candidates that were they were very close, neck and neck on percentages. They came out with, they asked them who supported ranked choice voting. And when the one candidate did not, she dropped dramatically in the polls. So this is their strategy to try and bring ranked choice voting to our state. To get it to pass, you just have to have a majority, 50% plus 1. If you want to change that, if it gets passed, it's generally like 2/3 of a vote to get it out of there. So it may still be worthwhile to consider a resolution against it. I think it's actually going to be bad for them to be supporting this. I don't think they couldn't get the signatures for their petition, but I just wanted to make you aware of it, that happened just last weekend.
Thank you.
Ken Vandercock, 7200 Layton. Last meeting, I asked about an ambulance. What's the status of the ambulance? We going to get one for the fire department?
So we can answer, or at least get comments on during board comments or manager comments. And if we don't have it tonight, we'll follow up with you.
Okay, I thought you said last week or 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, you said you'd have it. And how about a bumper car?
Didn't say that. And we're trying to avoid the back and forth town hall stuff. So we can respond with what we know following the public comments.
Okay, and a bumper car, has anything been thought of that, or is that not under consideration at all either? We got $1 million truck sitting out there, and any drunk coming down the road can hit it, and it's gonna be gone for quite a while, out of service. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. We will address both of those during board or manager comments.
Scott Van Zalkma. So if you guys can clarify a little bit more with the zoning. So we're back to the old zoning. Does that sort of like, would there be any incentive for any developers or any realtors or any builders or anybody to do anything that would still be under the old zoning? Like, could they be grandfathered in and then it changes in August? Or would they maybe go with try to look at going with the new zoning? I mean, where does that, I mean, it's kind of a cluster that these people came up with and everyone else has to now deal with it. So just curious as to where that sort of puts us and if we can explain that. And then what happens if it doesn't pass? Would you, and the zoning still needs to get updated. Obviously you people know my stance on this. I've been for it and it is definitely needed to be updated. So if it doesn't pass the ballot, do you guys just say throw up your hands or do you start over? So any clarification as to what maybe the plan is, or maybe you don't want to say anything, but I'm just curious as to, I'm assuming we guys, it needs to be updated. Obviously some people don't like the way what you guys did. I think it was great, but again, you're not going to please everybody. You can't, it's impossible. People won't even agree on what to put on a pizza, let alone zoning ordinance for 36 square miles. So, but I applaud what you guys are doing and thank you for taking the shots and the yells and stuff like that. So, but thank you.
Any other comments, virtually or in person? Manager comments. Dave?
Sure. Just a couple things. At first, I'll address the ambulance and the BLS situation. So the board received, if you recall, a few months ago, a report from the fire department strategic plan. And part of that strategic plan was recommendations that came from the Citizens Advisory Committee plus the fire department itself. And the BLS program was presented to the board, and it was agreed upon that we would go back and put together what I will call a business plan to see if that is feasible, if it's long-term stable for the township, which is what the chief and myself and his staff and Lorna from finance have been doing since then. This is not something that we can do overnight. This is something we don't just go buy an ambulance and then start making calls. We have existing contracts with certain providers at this time that we have to sit down and negotiate with. This is not all medical runs. This is only a certain type of medical run. So there's a delicate process to putting this together. I can say that we are making progress and we are prepared to probably come back before the board in May with a recommendation that's going to have what the short-term needs are, the long-term needs are, the staffing needs, potential cost, and then what that will look like. And then if it is going to be viable for the next foreseeable future. So it is not that we are not purchasing an ambulance. That was never the direction. And I don't believe that was actually ever the recommendation from the fire department or the staff to the board. It was to go back and look at the program, which incorporates the purchase of an ambulance plus a different staffing setup. So that's where we stand with the ambulance and BLS. And if there's any questions, I'm more than happy to have a conversation as well. I'll go through a couple more things and I'll throw the bumper car to the chief. Wanted to let everybody know that spring cleanup is May 2nd, which is a Saturday from 8 to 12 at Rec Park. Please check the website if anyone's watching or here in the room, because the road commission's also scheduled the road construction project down by Rec Park at the same time. So Eric and Dan are working with the road commission to make some changes for the weekend so that traffic still can get in and out for this event, because we all know that this event is very well attended, and the residents do utilize it. So we want to encourage everybody to do it. We're going to try and make it as easy as possible. So check the website to make sure that the traffic patterns are followed appropriately. And then the last thing before I turn it over to Chief is if anyone has seen the news or on Facebook, yes, there was a bear sighting in Cascade over the weekend, and the township has been in contact with the DNR. They do not make it best practice to trap the animals, but they do have some guidelines. Obviously, avoid the bear, don't feed the bear, stay out of the bear's vision, don't run away from it. I mean, everything that you would think is probably normal recommendations, that is what their normal recommendations are. If you look at our Facebook page, we have put a link to the DNR's page on what to do. Obviously, they know that it's here, and we do want to report those. But if anyone has any encounters, we do not have a bear expert on staff, but we have made contact with the DNR, and we'll continue to work with them if this becomes a bigger issue. With that, I'll turn it over to Chief to talk about the bumper car.
Okay, thank you. I think what Ken's talking about is like a vehicle blocker. It's common for fire departments to repurpose like a county dump truck to use as a blocker to kind of use it on the highway to get in the way of vehicles that are increasingly hitting fire trucks. Securing a retired dump truck from the county is pretty easy. It's the legacy costs of staffing it, I think, that we're having trouble with. Right now, Cascade Township's fire department is minimally staffed at 5. And so if we pull 20% of our staffing to drive a retired dump truck to block $1 million engine, which is, I guess, a good idea. It takes people away from responding to medicals and fires and those types of equipment. So that is the difficult portion. Hiring an additional firefighter to staff that would probably exceed the premium on the insurance to cover the engine if it were to get hit. I do worry about my firefighters on the highway. We've got 2 very busy highways that, that does cause me more concern than them fighting fires. So it's not an easy question to answer. I wish I had a better answer. I know that we have potentially deployment analysis studies coming up. Maybe that's one thing we could give them to kind of bat around and give us some better direction. I wish I had a better answer for you. Good one.
What's standard practice, or what do they?
You'll see everything. Most departments don't have the ability to staff it. Some of the bigger cities, they have staffing everywhere, and so they're able to pull staff members to be able to do that. Some of our communities use a vehicle attenuator, which is like a trailer with a bumper system. Granville is an example of that. I will say last year, Granville got one hit, and it went around the attenuator and hit the vehicle anyway. So there's no guarantee that will actually to work. It's a mixed bag. You just, what do you do? I don't have a good answer. I wish I did.
Is there any community in Southwest Michigan that has one?
City Wyoming has one that they are willing to deploy, but we can usually block with our other engines before they could get there. And typically it's, at least with M6 and 9, the first few minutes are the scary stuff. And then the traffic backs up so bad that everybody's going 2 miles an hour. So within the first 5 minutes, you need somebody there to block. Having a neighbor do that with one of theirs is probably not viable.
But it's not a common practice. It's not like everybody in West Michigan has ones that don't, is what I'm.
Correct. It's a mixed bag. A few have them, most don't.
Can we use our old fire engines instead of a brand new one to block?
Yes, we could. We have engine 3, for example. When we bought new engine 3 is our old engine. It's still got a little bit of life left in it for a reserve rig for when our engines break. We can put it in service. That would be an appropriate vehicle if it does get hit. There's not a lot of value there.
Thank you.
These are insured too, right? Not to minimize, we don't even have it, but we've got insurance on these.
Correct. Yeah. I worry less about vehicle replacement than I do my firefighters. But yes, the vehicles, again, they're about $1 million a piece now, and they are insured.
Thank you.
Thanks.
People need to stay off their phones. Pay attention. So sick.
Board comments. Trustee Shipley?
Always stand up and thank you all for coming, especially the comments that we had tonight. Cribbs and Scott and Ken, we count on you for your guidance, and anybody else that has guidance at future meetings, don't hesitate to stand up. I see some familiar faces out there that are awfully quiet. That's all I have.
Trustee Nordyke?
Thank you. I'd also like to thank all the residents for being here. I have two things tonight. T-Mobile has been doing a lot of fiber installation in various neighborhoods. I've had a lot of residents reaching out to me. I want to recognize Eric for getting back to every one of them with a detailed, unique response. Eric, your tireless work is definitely recognized. Thank you for that. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize the clerk's office and the entire clerk's staff and the extra staff for the extra work it's taken during this referendum process. Regardless of where any of us stand on the substance of the issue, the administrative responsibility that follows a referendum petition is significant. It involves careful coordination, detailed verification, communication with the county, strict compliance with state law, and a great deal of additional time and attention beyond the normal day operations. The clerk's office has handled that responsibility professionally and thoughtfully. These processes are not simple. They're not optional. They are part of ensuring residents can exercise their rights under Michigan law, and they require real extra effort behind the scenes. I want residents to understand that this kind of work often happens quietly, but is essential to maintaining the trust in local government and confidence in our election procedures. So I want to thank the clerk and her staff for their diligence, their professionalism, and their willingness to take the extra responsibilities to make sure the process is handled correctly. It's appreciated.
Trustee Rizzi?
I'd like to thank everybody for coming. I like seeing a more full room. That's a good thing. I was in Ada recently, and you don't get as many people to come to their meetings, so it's refreshing to see that we have involved. I'd also like to give Eric a shout out. I had several residents contact me with issues, and he circled back to them with in a timely manner and helped their situations get a quick resolution. So thank you for that. I had a personal situation at the cemetery that I worked through our deputy clerk for, and also Ryan and Chuck from grounds, and that went very well, very professional, and so I appreciate that very much. So I just wanted to give a shout out, or I thought it was due.
Trustee Nordyke?
Thanks for coming.
Clerk Slater?
No comments.
Treasurer Korstahanj?
No comments.
I just briefly answer Mr. Van Solkema's question. Whether or not voters approve the updated zoning ordinance that this board passed in February 11th will be on the, was it August 23rd ballot?
August 4th.
August 4th, what's that? What's other?
State primary.
State primary, August 4th. So then the question, yes or no, if voters agree with its adoption, we move forward with the updated zoning. If voters say no, then Cascade Township, as it is right now, the existing zoning applies, which we heard two different dates. The original zoning was adopted in 1974, where you're thinking big box stores, big parking lots, industrial development, not a lot of regulations on residential, and also 1989. So right now we're with that. It's been added to and changed over time, but there's a lot of inconsistencies, a lot of inefficiencies, and a lot of contradictions. So the whole let the people decide, all about it. Democratic process, 100%. It's also a little bit misleading or a little bit self-serving because the democratic process is having 20,000 plus residents vote for 7 of their peers to represent their interests, and that's how you get things done. So what happens is, yeah, whether it's adopted, we move forward with a new one. Whether it's not adopted, then the residents are stuck with this old, outdated, inefficient zoning ordinance that doesn't represent what people have continuously said they wanted. And again, if this board does its job, which the residents voted us to do, it comes right back to these 7 trustees' laps to do something about it. So the alternative is you give in to the realtors, developers, and investors, and we're stuck with an outdated piece of garbage that really hurts the residents, or you keep it. But either way, this board has to do its job, and the people who are saying let the people decide, let democracy do its work, are the people who want what's in the old ordinance. So it's up to residents to educate themselves and kind of figure out what's accurate, what's not, what's actually scary, what's really not that scary. The 7 of us can't do all of it, and we certainly don't have the resources financially or the PAC money up here on our end or at the township's end to do the kind of advocacy and persuasion tactics that came at the residents of Cascade to get that referendum on the ballot. We just can't do it. So it's up to the residents to decide what's in the new zoning, what's in the old zoning, which one they want, and do your job as part of this democracy. And it's up to us to handle it afterwards. But in the meantime, we're stuck with the zoning that everyone agrees needs to be updated. So with that, I have no further comments. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Shipley makes a motion for adjournment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.